your time.
Guys, kids are probably more resilient than us old guys, but how was their body language today?
You know what? It was fine. I mean, guys, we lost 2 games. It's different travel. It's not an excuse. It's just a different experience, you know. And I thought the day of the USC game, we were about as ready to play as we could, and we probably played our worst game of the year. And give them some credit, give us some blame. We were not sharp. We did not rebound like we can. We gave up some things. We missed free throws. The next day, we bounced back, had a good practice, had a great game plan and a great game. And you just can't turn the ball over 16-3. Not one against the press. And so, you know, was it fatigue? Was it them? I don't think so, because it wasn't against the press. So I was disappointed in maybe how we played, because I think we were good enough to win 2. And as we always are, we're good enough to lose 2. And that's it. That's all it is. No surprises. I told you what I thought would win the league. So it's move on to the next game. And we had a good, hard, long practice today. Yesterday, we had good, long, hard film sessions. I mean, they couldn't practice. We got in at 6, 7, whatever it was. So they did a hell of a job, and I'm ready to go.
How's Jace doing?
Jace is feeling great. He had probably one of his best practices. He's doing good. You know, and that was factor 2. As you saw, Book not here. He's got that flu that's going around. I guess a bunch of their guys got it out at UCLA also. So, you know, it is what it is. I was sick out there myself, so I was sicker after the game, but I was sick myself, and Book will be okay, but it might be a couple days out.
What was it with Jace? Was it a knee thing, or what? I don't think the podcast
No,
said what.
I didn't know I thought it was his knee. It was his wind, and he got hit in the side, but I would have known that. I probably would have played him more at the end.
How's the reacclimation factor coming back? I know that's something you're worried about.
It is something I'm worried about, because everybody told me it's harder to go east than it is to go west. Our guys were pretty good yesterday, and they were really good today. So I'm not, as far as I go, who cares? But I feel good too.
Oregon's a team that, for a while looked like they might be a contender. They've clearly got some guys pound for pound that are pretty good. Now they've hit a bit of a slide. What do you think of them? What do you make?
I talked to Mick Cronin after the game, and we all know what went on out there after they lost 4 in a row. In fact, it was almost 5. They played bad in the game before they started the 4-game losing streak. And that's another thing I told you. There's going to be streaks. There's going to be things that happen, Illinois has gone through some things. You play 20 games, there's a lot of things, and sometimes you don't play good and you luck out and win. And sometimes you play pretty good and don't look out and lose. But I think everybody picked them as one of the more talented teams when the year started. I think they are one of the more talented teams. He's a very good coach. Everybody had them, Indiana and Illinois, when the year started. And then they won that tournament out in Vegas and got as high as 8th or 9th in the country. And they went on a little bit of a tough streak themselves. But if you saw the game last night, they're 14 down, came back and tied it. They've got a guard and a big that are really good, and they've got some 8-man deep that can play.
I imagine they probably stayed out here too, so it's a little bit, now that you've seen the back end of it, what were maybe some of the second game pluses and minuses for
I mean, like I said, it's supposed to be worse going that way than it is this way than it is that way. I don't know. I thought on Tuesday, I thought we didn't show a lot of fatigue or anything else. We just played. We just turned the damn ball over, and so I don't know. Every team's different. I don't know what his team. I got enough problem worried about my team.
Do you expect Xavier to play Saturday?
No clue. He's got the flu. How the hell would I know?
I'm taking a shot in the dark.
I mean, those are dumb questions. No insult intended. But I mean, he's sick. How do I know?
I didn't know when
he's throwing up and everything else. I'm not God. I don't know what'll happen. I hope he can play Saturday, but I have no clue. And no insult, but that's the dumb question.
Staying with the West Coast trip, you've been kind of telling us for the last couple of weeks about, hey, we haven't done anything yet. Has this been an example of, hey, it's still a whole lot more and a whole different level of basketball to be played?
Yes and no. You know, I was impressed that we didn't play good, and we were right there. I mean, those of you that were out there, I think you were the only one maybe. You know, we could have beat them. I mean, you can't turn the ball over 16 times and beat the Northern Michigan. Seriously, 16-3, and we're playing LCC. We're going to have trouble winning that game. So, I mean, I'd give them credit if it was on the press and everything else, but as I said in the press conference, when people on the sidelines were covering their head because balls were come flying at them, that's probably our fault. And that was disappointing, to be very honest with you. But everything else, the effort and everything else, I mean, there were two good teams, and both teams were physical, and they went at it. So I think there's a lot of basketball left, unfortunately. And where does it put us? I don't know. You know, what you don't want to go on is on a 3 and 4 game losing streak like a lot of teams have. And we tried to keep away from that. Hopefully we'll play well on Saturday.
With those turnovers,
everyone, you haven't had those streaks, so there's no need for reevaluation or reassessing it. You just move on like you've been, don't you?
Well, the only thing I reassess is why are we turning the damn ball over? And we had 13 against USC, and neither team, both of them pressed a little, although UCLA didn't really token.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the press that got us, so that is disappointing, and we've got to grow up and do a better job of that. And
did the pressure between USC and UCLA, did that take you guys out of the break a little bit? Do you think
maybe not running after makes. You know, we set up in a press breaker, and at the end I didn't. If I did it over again, I wouldn't. But you know, we're just trying to do what's best to give us the best chance to win. So I don't have anything that, I'm not reassessing anything except guys better take care of the damn ball. They're going to be sitting with me.
Seems like those are coming in stretches again, too. It's not like full game.
4 at the beginning, 4 at the start of the second half, I think, and then nothing for like 11 minutes, and then 3. Yeah, that's a good point. They are coming in stretches.
This is a reunion weekend. A lot of the 2,000 guys will be around. How is this weekend a little more special every year for you with those guys around?
Well, now they can bring their wives and kids, you know. Some of their kids are players. So I got one of them. But, you know, it's fun to see them grow. It's fun to see what they've done with their careers. Most of them are making pretty good lives for themselves. It's a proud moment, you know, and it's an exciting moment for me to know that that group really is the group that started the Tom Izzo era, and I will be eternally grateful.
Not that you've gone through this trip, taking away the 80 minutes of basketball, but just what are the lessons? What did you like? What would you change next time about prep? How you spend the time? When you leave? You know, just
we didn't get to do much out there.
No,
we tried to stay close. We tried to stay close, and that was good because we weren't sure how far 2 miles was. You know, we heard all the horror stories. I would stay where we stayed. I wish we could do a few things with our players. Thank God Irvin came over the night of the Grammys and was awesome and everything. I mean, what he did was unbelievable when you think about it. He gave up a chance to be on the Grammys and spent it with us and some of our alums, and that was great. So I wouldn't have changed anything there. The days got long because we can't control our practice times. Like, we practice when they let us practice. And one time we practiced at 10 in the morning. And so then you had all day, you know, you had to hurry up in the morning, and then you had all day. And so there are things like that I think I would ask the Big Ten office, can we get some clarity, including when teams come here and stuff like that. Nobody did anything on purpose. You know, some places have women's volleyball, women's gymnastics going on. You know, some have multiple sports, some have just 1 or 2 sports. But yeah, that part I'd like to look at. But I have no complaints. We
Different than an NCAA trip too. Even though the length was about the same, probably moving hotels and
it wasn't. I mean, the difference is in an NCAA trip, all the teams you play are doing the exact same thing. This is not that way. They have their confines. They sleep in their bed. They watch their film and their film. But so that part's not the same. But it was no. Hey, don't anybody think it, write it, or say it to your best friend or your wife. The trip did not cost us playing like we did. We cost us playing like we did, not the trip. It was no problem.
With the, you talked earlier, like playing a team like Northwestern, where you'd seen them for years, you got to feel different with USC and UCLA. Does it make it harder when you come back home to a third straight game against basically a new?
I think the hardest thing about the new conference and the 20 games is the number of first-time plays. I mean, we've had one team, and we played them the first game of the year, and then we got the second prep. We haven't played Michigan yet. We play them twice in like 2 weeks. And the other one will be Illinois, which is a normal one. We played them a month ago. We'll play them next week. And so when you have a first-time, one-time prep, a lot more goes into it. It takes a lot longer. That's a lot harder. That's the one thing that I think makes this conference schedule more difficult. Even the NBA, they play the same teams in their league, but they play them the same amount of times. We don't, and that makes it, we've had a lot of one-time, first-time practice.
For a guy that's always talked about the importance of the regular season championship, how does, I mean, the level of difficulty seems different, but it makes an impact on a title race, I would think, too.
Yeah, I said a couple years ago, I've always believed the regular season is more valuable than the conference tournament. I always said that. I mean, people won't like that at the office because it's not made for TV the same way. But I also said about 3-4 years ago that some of the champions are going to be won by the schedule, not by, I mean, I told you this 3-4 years ago. We were one game out and we played the 4 toughest teams twice and the 4 easiest teams once. Now that's an oddity. That doesn't normally happen. But they can't balance that. They don't even know. I mean, where would they have put us at the beginning of the year? Where would they put Michigan? Where would they put Wisconsin? And the teams they did put up there, some of them aren't doing as well. So it's nobody's fault. It's just what makes it harder. And sometimes you get the luck of the draw, sometimes injuries. When you play a team, there's a lot of different factors right now that don't quite make it the same, and
where you play becomes a factor now.
Where you play the one game, right? But for me, the regular season will always still mean more because you got to survive 20 of them games, and that's a lot.
Tom, I want to talk about your favorite subject, social media.
Yeah.
Does the West Coast trip take away from the great run you guys had the last couple months? Because there was a lot of fair-weather fans on social media just acting as if you guys haven't had a lot of success leading up to the West Coast trip.
Yeah, I mean, that's guys mad because they bet on us and they lost. So I really don't give a damn about them, if you want the truth. And if it's other fans that are fans, I don't give a damn about them. And that's no insult to them. I mean, you go on the road and do what we did. I mean, it's when you play a team, too. I mean, just think, 2 weeks ago, when I talked to Mick after the game, they had lost 4 out of 5, and the 5th one they almost lost.
And he went viral.
He went viral, but it would have been a good time to catch his team. So people have no clue, what it's like. Here's what I'll say to those people. Appreciate your support, and if you really feel that way, I would appreciate no support. And for the people that understand and care about the players and the program, we're 18-4. We're 9-2 and one of the best leagues in the country. Sure, the schedule gets tougher because we were one of the teams picked to be backloaded. That's a compliment to your program. So, sorry we let you down. Sorry you lost a few ducats. But for me, I don't give a damn what you lost.
You've had the you've got 10 guys in rotation, which has meant, the strength in numbers, figuring the right guys and the right matchups all year. I'm wondering when you face a, is that you, Fred?
His wife doesn't let him do anything.
Why are you spending time with Izzo rather than me? Go ahead.
When you face close games like those and you've got to make those decisions late, is that something that, you've had a number of games where you've put teams away into the final minute? Is that a new challenge?
It's new. It's a new challenge. Like I said, Jace was a kid I would have played if I would have known he wasn't injured, really. And just watching him. But I'm not saying that would have been plus or minus. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, those are decisions you got to make. But he had to make the same decisions. He played 10 guys, man. He played 10 guys. I mean, to be honest with you, his 9th and 10th guy killed us. The white kid that hit the 3, he had 8 points. And the little guard that played only like 10 minutes, 8 minutes. That's who beat us. So, that's you reading the internet too much.
Oh, that's me watching.
I'm just telling you. No.
So Tom, transition defense hasn't been a big problem for you guys over the years or this year, but it did on that one play. The kid that you just mentioned got loose for that.
Yeah, well,
just
Jaden,
focus situation.
I didn't give him enough rest. He got knocked down, ran back, and just, didn't. Coverage wasn't what it should be, but that was a big 3. In fact, it was when he missed the layup and fell down. And so that turned out to be a 5-point swing in about 5 seconds. And I don't know, I guess that means we're not very good. And I'll keep my team. I won't trade him in yet.
Although he lost a couple of games, was it beneficial to get a couple of late game situations, even though he didn't execute at the end? You can look at that and make some corrections. You haven't had many late game situations this year.
Yeah. I mean, we know what we want to do. A little screwed up in the last game because we thought they'd press us. They didn't press us, so we set up something a little different. But like I said, I got no excuses. We got to, hey, don't turn the ball over 16 times. I'll bet you we win the game. That's all.
Coop played a lot of minutes.
Both
games.
He played, and played well.
Yeah.
He played well. That was encouraging, A couple of our guards didn't play well, and, it was a rough weekend. Trey'd be the first to tell you it was a rough weekend for him. And,
just balancing those post players with the matchups, too. I mean,
there's another thing that you got to realize that when you're playing so many different teams now, those teams, matchups are going to become a factor. Some teams are going to go real big. Some teams are going to have real big guards. And you have small guards. And then you say, well, we want big guards. And then all of a sudden, when you get a fast team that's going around you like water through a tin horn, you say, man, I wish we had some quicker, smaller guards. So, you know what? We got what we got. I like what we got. What we got is won 18 games. Maybe we haven't beaten the world, but we haven't beaten the Sisters of the Poor either. Our strength of schedule and everything is right up there. So you're not going to get me to say anything that against these guys. They've done their job for me. We know what we did wrong. That's what we'll correct, what we did wrong. Turning the damn ball over 29 times in 2 games, period.
Tom, it feels like with your sort of strength in numbers and the depth, one of the sort of external knocks is that there's not a quote-unquote go-to guy.
Yeah.
But Jaden obviously is a guy who takes that shot late in the game. You look to him. I'm curious where you think he's at in terms of being that sort of guy that...
Well, I need him to be that guy, and what I'm trying to do with Jaden is get him more shots that are off the catch, off the dribble. He can get to the rim, but he's not as good on that, and so that's what we're trying to correct a little bit. But we need that, and like I said, if you look at their team, it's the same issues. Play 10 guys, don't know. Everybody's between 12 and 8 a game. Same exact situation, and there's more teams like that now, because I think, and we're starting to see some injuries now. Illinois has had some injuries, Indiana's had some injuries, Maybe Book's sick, will be an injury, I don't know. But it's a long season yet, and I like the direction we are. I'm mad about the turnovers.
Do you think it's a big test for him as a leader and a captain of this team, this
Yeah,
2 game streak?
yeah, I do. I think it is a good test for him. I think he wants that. And we need him to want that. We need him to be able to step up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.